Thanks for joining us on the CBN News Channel. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm George Thomas. Well, we begin with hot weather. Well, it's another day of scorching heat from America's northeast to the Midwest. Heat-related illnesses and even wildfires are of major concern. Gary Lane brings us the latest.
Excessive heat is causing high customer demand for electricity in the east. That's leading to overstressed power grids and significant outages. Businesses shut down in Providence, Rhode Island, where 400 customers lost their electricity at the start of the workday.
We had a couple of little flickers, didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden there was no electricity.
The power company says an electrical failure in the lines beneath the sidewalk resulted in the outage. Employees at the Beata Home Healthcare office worried about work loss.
I don't know what's left on my computer, and hopefully it's all saved.
Some eastern cities distributed free water and ice, and hospital emergency rooms like this one in Chicago are seeing an increase in heat-related illnesses.
I feel like I'm gonna explode. It's so hot.
Medical experts say ongoing excessive heat can be dangerous to your health because the body doesn't get a chance to cool down. That can lead to high blood pressure, heart failure, and heat stroke. Especially vulnerable? Young children. Their body temperature can rise 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's.
If you are at a playground, take your hand, slide that down. If it's hot for you with the touch, it's too hot for your child to play.
The elderly are also at risk. Free fans are being handed out to them and children in Raleigh, North Carolina. While the priority is to keep people healthy and cool, pets are also a concern.
They're overheated. You need to hose them down. You need to get them to a vet right away.
In the western U.S., it's not just the heat that's raising concerns. Drought is also a worry. A lack of rain is raising the potential for wildfires. The fire season began 2 months earlier because of dry conditions. Thousands of Californians have been ordered to evacuate their homes. A fast-moving wildfire has already consumed 14,000 acres.
The fire behavior you're seeing right now is what we'd typically be seeing in August to September.
This year's wildfire season is on pace to become the deadliest in U.S. history. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Thanks, Gary. A leading congressman is warning the White House that the government's electronic surveillance program may not be renewed. Wisconsin Republican James Sensenbrenner said in a congressional hearing Wednesday that Congress has serious reservations about the National Security Agency program. And he said unless the administration realizes it has a problem, Congress won't fund the program again next year. And Democratic Congressman John Conyers says as far as he's concerned, the program has already violated the law.
Police in your town, get this, may be tracking your movements, and you don't even know it. Law enforcement agencies across the country are using special license plate scanners to track vehicles. The American Civil Liberties Union says the devices are attached to police cars, bridges, or buildings. They capture image of passing or parked cars, keeping digital records of their location and movement. That information is sent to a police database and kept for weeks or even years. Authorities say they use a surveillance system to expose local terrorists, find abducted children, and track drug dealers. The ACLU says it's a violation of privacy. They're calling on police to delete records of all cars not involved in a crime.
A school district in Texas announced its decision to drop a controversial student tracking program. CBN News first brought you the story of this controversial program last year. It was supposed to increase attendance by tracking students' locations through a chip on their ID badges. But it was met with a huge outcry of protest and even a lawsuit. One student was expelled for objecting to the badge based on religious freedom and privacy concerns. Others said it violated their civil liberties. The district says it dropped the program because it was ineffective.
A new agreement on student loan rates could help college students this fall. Interest rates doubled on July 1st, but a bipartisan group of senators reached a deal that would offer undergrads applying for new loans a 3.8% interest instead of the current 6.8%. Graduate students would pay 5.4%.
College education is becoming more and more expensive. Tuition prices at some schools have gone up as much as 40%. Recently, CBN's Ephraim Graham met some students who are working hard to avoid going into debt to pay for their education.
It was very stressful to start.
Christopher Wells is a man on a mission.
earn a degree debt-free.
My first year, my mother had to take money out of the 401k plan. We had a deal, and she said that she would pay the first year at school, but every year after that, I would have to pay for it myself or figure out a way to pay it.
How does he do it? The 20-year-old works summers instead of chilling out. This year, Wells spends 40 hours a week as an intern and waits tables on the weekends. He also lives at home and commutes to class.
I had the opportunity to live on campus, but I could have taken out a loan, but I just chose not to. And that was one of the biggest decisions for me.
And while it hasn't been easy, this honors student is on track to graduate next year with no student loan debt. Many of his classmates won't be able to enjoy the same freedom.
Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. They just, they're on campus, their parents pay for their tuition, they're kind of just going with the motion, and that's just not me.
The latest figures show student debt in America has climbed to $1 trillion. The average balance, about $23,000. However, some college graduates are looking at more than $100,000 in the red. That debt is even tougher to pay back in today's economy, where most college graduates can't find a job.
So many times I meet people who've got $100,000 spent to get a PhD in, German polka history or something. Oh my gosh, where are they going to get this money back?
Financial expert Dave Ramsey says students must change their thinking when it comes to college.
We've got to break the mindset that in order to be a student, you have to have a student loan. Instead, let's go back to the old-fashioned way of paying for it. And you actually can do that. It's difficult, but you can do it. It's called work.
That work actually begins years before even applying for college. Step 1, choose a school you can actually afford, perhaps a community college to get started. Then, look for free money in the form of grants and scholarships.
You've got to apply for scholarships. There's lots of them out there. You've got to take classes on how to take your SAT and ACT so that your scores come up, which qualifies you for more scholarships. And then you get grants. I grant you the right to work while you're in school. WORK has not killed anybody.
And when they make it to campus, watch out for those lifestyle extras like pizzas and parties.
An interesting thing I was reading in state schools the other day is the average college student graduating this last year had $27,900 in student loan debt. And the interesting thing is that's about what they spent over 4 years to live off campus in an apartment, to eat out, to attend social functions associated with college. And so really those dollars that drove them into debt were not education dollars, they were lifestyle dollars.
A lesson Christopher Wells has already mastered.
My mother always said to me, if you ain't got it, don't get it. So if I don't have it, I'm not going to get it. If I don't have the cash for it, then I'm not going to buy it.
Wells doesn't carry a credit card or even a car loan. He still drives his 2001 Chevy his parents gave him back in high school.
Life is not all about partying or going out with your friends and stuff. Like, if you want to be successful in life, you have to work, you got to save your money, you have to budget. It's very essential.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
Thanks, Ephraim. Great advice. Republican leaders are opening the door for the children of illegal immigrants to stay in the United States. House Speaker John Boehner is endorsing legislation that would allow children brought here illegally by their parents to become citizens. Majority Leader Eric Cantor is helping craft the bill. He says it's the compassionate thing to do. Democrats say the move is a welcome step, but they won't support an effort that ignores millions of other illegal immigrants.
Many Americans, both young and old, don't know much about American history or how unique our system of government works. But one group is changing that by training up young citizens. It's called Patriot Academy, and I recently traveled to Dallas, Texas for a first-hand look.
This is where laws are made in the state of Texas. Each summer, students from across the country travel to Austin for an up-close look at how government works. It's called Patriot Academy, a sort of political boot camp for ages 16 to 25. The academy trains young people to effectively engage in all aspects of government, from elected official to citizen activist. Rick Green started the program.
I was a member here in the legislature, and I realized just after a few months of being here and involved in the debates that a lot of people said, well, I'm a conservative, or I believe in what the Founding Fathers believed, or I'm a Christian, or whatever. But then looked at how they voted, and I was like, how do you match that up? How do your values are not matching your vote?
These student legislators learn how to write bills, debate, and pass laws.
Knowing since you're younger, the more you know, the more credible you are when you go out into the real world. So the more I know about the process and the details, when I go out to talk to people or to use that skills in areas outside, it gives you more credibility.
Many simply want to make their country better.
I'm also hoping to take away a vision for what our country can be and what we can do to bring our country back to its founding principles.
People's apathy really concerns me. No one seems to care. And that's why it's so important to be here, to make sure that young people, the future, care about where our country's headed.
That includes debating today's major social issues, like abortion, gay marriage, and gun control.
We don't play with the easy issues. They learn how to analyze the issue, how to win the issue, not just saying, hey, because the Bible says this, that's the way it's got to be. They learn how to win with reason.
Green believes the Academy is fulfilling its vision of preparing a new generation to change America.
This next generation, I believe, God is raising up a remnant of people that are passionate about His Word, passionate about putting the nation before themselves.
We're the guardians of freedom in this next generation, and it's our privilege and our responsibility to step up to the challenge. But we don't know how. Nobody's there to show us the way, except for Patriot Academy.
And the Patriot Academy is also holding classes in Boise, Idaho next month.
A federal judge has blocked a city in Southern California from putting up a memorial for veterans because it includes a cross. The city had agreed to pay $50,000 for the monument. It would include the illustration of a soldier kneeling before a grave topped by a cross. The American Humanist Association argues the monument violates the separation of church and state. The city said the cross was a generic illustration of a grave. In addition to the cross, it includes a flag and an eagle. The case will go to trial October 1st.
Coming up, are thousands dying needlessly in UK hospitals? A closer look at the perils of government-sponsored health care.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes now.
Britain's Queen Elizabeth has given her royal stamp of approval to gay marriage. The House of Lords passed the legislation legalizing same-sex unions earlier this week. The Queen's approval, while a formality, was the last step necessary for the bill to become law. The law enables gay couples to get married in both civil and religious ceremonies in England and Wales. The Church of England, which opposes the measure, is exempt from having to perform gay weddings.
A blistering report out of the UK claims thousands may have died needlessly in British hospitals due to poor health care. Britain's National Health Service is a renowned institution, but has been criticized for years. As John Waggy reports, the new report adds more fuel to the fire.
The report accuses the National Health Service of poor care in at least 14 hospital trusts and says many patients have died as a result.
I can't remember the good times at the minute, so it breaks my heart.
It's an emotional topic for Rebecca Asplin, whose mother had a blocked bowel and died at home after being discharged with pneumonia from a British hospital.
There's no need for her to suffer like that just for a blocked bowel. You know, food and fluid, it's everybody needs to survive.
Sharon Walsh has one word to describe the care her late grandfather received.
Appalling is a word that I would use. Granddad went in trusting that people would look after him, give him basic care, give him the respect and dignity he deserved, and he didn't get any of that. Granddad was shunted about like a suitcase. 9 moves in 12 days. It was as if he was just part of the furniture, literally. He was just always there. So no one seemed to sort of acknowledge or take any notice, and they certainly didn't take accountability of his care.
The UK's National Health Service is so much a part of the country's fabric that it was celebrated in last year's London Olympics opening ceremonies, with a worldwide audience in the billions. But the latest reports of bad management and poor staffing make it a political hot potato in Parliament.
It is never acceptable for government ministers to put pressure on the NHS to suppress bad news, because in doing so, they make it less likely that poor care will be tackled.
The report is a headache for the Prime Minister.
Frankly, we don't serve our NHS if we cover up wrongdoing and problems. We've got to look at those problems. We've got to look at any instances of poor levels of care or poor management, and we've got to deal with them.
Officials insist that they have made progress in care over the past 2 years, but the latest report reflects badly on the country's health bureaucracy, which is the 5th largest employer in the world. John Waggy, CBN News.
Up next, the plan to put an end to Planned Parenthood. Hear what's being done to shut down the nation's largest abortion provider.
And welcome back to the broadcast. Texas Governor Rick Perry signed sweeping abortion restrictions into law today. The Lone Star State has become one of the first to ban abortions after 20 weeks. It also requires abortion clinics to meet higher medical standards. However, the law isn't sitting well with one of America's most popular newspapers. USA Today's editorial board printed their objection. They don't like the fact that the law makes it difficult for women to abort babies with Down syndrome. Often pregnant women don't find out until after 20 weeks that their baby has Down syndrome. Well, for decades, the fight against abortion has focused on protests, prayer, and election. But now some people have a different strategy.
That's right. They're going after the lifeline of the abortion industry, taking away its money and its workers. Paul Strand brings us that story.
Since 1992, 2/3 of the abortion clinics in America have shut down permanently.
But Mark Crutcher and his group Life Dynamics aren't stopping there. Their latest strategy could cost the industry billions of dollars, possibly cripple it. It involves shining a light on a rarely reported crime. Many females getting abortions are underage girls made pregnant by grown men.
60 to 80% of them were impregnated by adult men. So it's statutory rape and sexual abuse and aggravated sexual abuse of minors.
By law, abortion clinics must report such crimes, but Life Dynamics' undercover investigations found otherwise.
Planned Parenthood and the National Abortion Federation clinics and all these others are openly flaunting their state mandatory reporting laws.
Would you guys have to tell anybody?
Here, no, we don't tell anybody anything.
They're not reporting these situations. They're protecting the predators.
So Crutcher's group wants personal injury lawyers in this country to know there's money to be made suing abortion clinics over this.
You're talking about thousands of new victims every day. So you're looking at something that could easily be $25, $30 billion before it's all over.
Life Dynamics has contacted more than 53,000 trial lawyers about this and is offering them a free ad so they can reach these victims. And Crutcher says his phone is ringing off the hook. Hundreds of miles away near Austin, Texas, one of the pro-life movement's more controversial figures pursues a different tactic. Abby Johnson wants to convince abortion clinic employees to quit.
There's probably about 3,200 abortion clinic workers in the United States, and we've already reached 50, so we've almost reached 2% of that population in less than a year.
Johnson worked for Planned Parenthood for 8 years, serving as a director of one of their clinics for some of those. Other abortion defectors in the past have made a good living doing speeches and appearances before pro-life groups, which is pretty much what Johnson is doing full-time now. But she insists her goal is much bigger than making money. Now Abby Johnson is working from her base here, her home in Round Rock, Texas, and traveling the globe with a vision to kill off the very abortion industry she once worked for. Johnson writes in her book Unplanned that her outlook changed when Planned Parenthood asked her to do something unexpected. Help with an ultrasound during an abortion.
I was holding the ultrasound probe and I stood there and watched as a 13-week-old unborn child fought and struggled for his life during that abortion.
Planned Parenthood told its people to inform clients young fetuses couldn't feel pain. Johnson knew, watching that child's painful death, she'd been lied to.
But I had then in turn lied to thousands of women.
Johnson also realized Planned Parenthood's goal was not to make the procedure safe and rare, but to sell abortion.
To Planned Parenthood, abortion always is the best thing for a woman. 98% of women who are pregnant that go into a Planned Parenthood clinic will get an abortion.
In order to fight this, she decided to starve the clinics of their employees. Johnson started the group, and then there were none. They offer abortion clinic workers who'll quit up to 3 months of financial support while they look for another job. The group insists no one is beyond redemption.
You are not trapped by the abortion industry.
And one of Abby's allies offers a challenge for those still at the clinics.
Listen to your heart. Pray about it. You know, let God show you the truth.
Nurse Angie Andino fell into deep depression after her Planned Parenthood work. She says God woke her up late one night and whispered, "Save the babies."
And I thought, wow, God, save the babies, okay. You know, I don't know what that means right now, but I'm sure you're going to let me know.
Then a job opened up at a pro-life pregnancy center where Andino began a career saving and delivering thousands of babies. A turnaround she believes could happen for any abortion worker who flees.
Their stories can be just like that.
And that would help fulfill the vision statement of Johnson's group.
No abortion clinic workers, no abortion clinics, no abortions.
American women still get more than 1 million abortions a year. What if there comes a day when all those abortion clinic workers have quit and there's no one left to do them? Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Round Rock, Texas.
So powerful when she said God woke her up and said, save the babies.
And you know, the thing is, new technology, you can see the face of the baby.
Yeah, and hear the heartbeat
Absolutely.
so clearly.
You know, it's been radical.
Definitely.
Well, folks, we'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Well, George, baby fever is going around the world, and it hails from England.
That's right, royal baby fever we're talking about. The British are anxiously expecting the arrival of the first child of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. We're talking, obviously, about William and Kate.
The last time I remember excitement like this was around the royal wedding. And I think, you know, this royal baby is going to trump all that.
The palace press will alert the media only after the Duchess of Cambridge has started labor. However, Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, suggested it could be very soon.
We're all waiting at the end of a telephone. I think by the end of the week, he or she will be there.
He or she. Well, in the meantime, royal grandparents Charles and Camilla are getting some practice for their coveted role. Queen Elizabeth, on the other hand, hopes the baby arrives before she goes on vacation. She wants that baby to come.
Yeah, I think she's going.
Nothing's going to interrupt
here.
that.
Yeah, she's going.
She's going.
That's all for the CBN News Channel.
Everyone, have a great day and join us back same time tomorrow.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.